Double passive voice is a fascinating aspect of English grammar that often flies under the radar. It's a construction that can sound a bit complex, but once you break it down, it makes perfect sense. So let's dive into it. First, let's clarify what passive voice is. In a typical passive construction, the focus shifts from the doer of the action to the receiver. For example, in the sentence, the cake was eaten by the children, the emphasis is on the cake, not the children. Now, double passive voice takes this a step further. It involves two layers of passivity, where both the subject and the object are in passive voice. To illustrate, consider the sentence, "The book was given to her by him." Here, the book is the subject that receives the action of being given, and her is the indirect object that also receives the action in a passive sense. If we wanted to express this in double passive voice, we could say, "She was given the book by him." Now, both the subject and the object are in passive constructions. So, how and when do we use double passive voice? It's particularly useful in formal writing or when the focus is on the action rather than who is performing it. For instance, in academic writing, you might say the results were analyzed by the researchers. If you want to emphasize the results even more, you could say the results were analyzed by the researchers in the study. Now let's break down the structure. The first part of the double passive voice typically follows this pattern: subject plus be plus past participle. The second part, which often includes the agent, follows the same structure. For example, the project was completed by the team. If we wanted to emphasize the project even more, we could say the project was completed by the team in record time. It's essential to remember that while double passive voice can add depth to your writing, it can also make sentences feel cumbersome if overused. Clarity is key. If the sentence becomes too convoluted, it might be better to revert to a more straightforward construction. In summary, double passive voice allows for a nuanced expression of actions where both the subject and object are emphasized. It's a tool that, when used judiciously, can enhance your writing, particularly in formal contexts. Just keep in mind the balance between clarity and complexity, and you'll be able to wield this grammatical structure effectively.